Hello, I am Neodomi and I am here with a quick tutorial on how to fix null bones and materials in MMD. So we've probably all been in a situation where you've opened up a model to try and make a motion and gone to have a look at the bone panel, and it's looked something like this, with everything very helpfully labelled null 2 or null 220, and it's just very messy and you can't tell what's what. Or alternately, you've gone up to the effect panel because you want to make the eyes glow, and you've gone to have a look to find the eyes, and they've all been called subset 0 or EN. This essentially happens because there's two labels built into MMD models, one that's read in the Japanese version of MMD and one that's read in the English version of MMD. Because a lot of the models and bases and whatnot that we use come out of Japan, they've got their Japanese labels filled in, but not their English ones. So when you open them up in the English version of MMD, you get this, null, because the values are empty. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to fix. You just need to open the model in question in PMX editor and fill in the labels, and I'll just show you how to do that. So this is that model in PMX editor just here. We'll start with the bones. So the first most basic thing, you open it up, it starts on the info panel, you go across here to the bone panel and you see a list of all your bones here labeled in Japanese. To switch between the two labels, you come over here across the name bar to where there's these two buttons, JP and EN. Click on EN and it will change it to the English label, which, as you can see, is blank. All you need to do is give it a label. Now, if you can't read Japanese, I know it's not best practice to do, but you can just copy the Japanese text and drop it into good old Google. For single words like this, it'll do. Like, I know Google Translate's not great, but it'll do for this. So you can see this one says center. So when you come back here, swap to the English label and change it to center. And so on for, you don't need to do every single bone because, you know, there's a lot of bones. Some of them may already have English labels. Some of them aren't really going to be important because they're not the bones you move. Like, you know, you probably don't need to go through and label all the hair bones, for example, because with the physics on, you don't move them yourself. So essentially, you've just got to go through and label each of these using Translate to get the names of any Japanese you don't know. Exact same deal with the materials. You come over here, bring it up so we can see, and you've got a list of all your materials here, and same deal with the labels. This is the English label is blank, the Japanese label has writing in it. If you're not sure which part of the body to call it, because these names aren't strictly right either, what you can do is come into your window here where you can see the model itself, and you click on this button up here where it says MSK, vertex masking, and it brings up this little window. And this essentially just allows you to click these checkboxes to show and display different layers so you can work out what they are essentially. So this one, layer 0, I don't know what it does on this model. It doesn't change anything, so I leave it alone. But this one is his skin, essentially. So it's the upper body is what the Japanese says. So we'll call it upper body. And yeah, same deal as with the bones. You just go through each of these and give them a name. One last thing you will need to do to clean up the display fully here in MMD, because we've got sort of all these subcategories that are also called null with all these bones called null underneath them. This is this part here, the display pane. And this is essentially what shows up here in MMD. So you've got all your facials here, you've got the center, you can see it says center there in English already, and you've got all labeled in Japanese. And another thing that can happen with these groupings of bones that make them easier to sort and find, often bones can be repeated when they don't need to be. Doesn't look like the case with this one at the moment, but sometimes, for example, you can have multiple copies of, the head section or something like that. So what we do here is same deal with the labels. You can change it between Japanese and English. So this one, nothing in English, we'll call it body, and yeah, go through and label them. And if you find, like, say you look in the body section and there's multiples of all these same bones, leave one of each. You can delete any spare ones. I might, just after I finish showing you this, just show you a model where that's happened, just so that it's a bit clearer. Oh, never mind, don't need to do that. There's some here. So see, we've got the head and the neck already in this group labeled body. We go here, we've got an upper body section that's got 2 neck bones and an upper body 3, which we don't need because, we've already got the neck bone there and upper body 3 is not used. Just right click, delete. This one we've got here, IK section is empty, delete. Lower body, empty, delete. We've got another upper body section, it's empty, delete. And just go through and get rid of, past a certain point you won't sort of need any of these because they're just something in there, nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there. Yeah, there's just, they all get doubled up somehow, I think just from, bits and pieces being copied and pasted on top of each other. It can get very messy very quickly. As long as the essentials are here, moving the model, it'll be fine. So once you go through and do that, save it as a new copy, give it a new name. If you've made major changes like this, never overwrite your existing model because it makes it really hard to go back if you've made a mistake, and especially when you're just learning, you will make mistakes. That's how we learn. So save it as a new copy, just like give it an extra number or something so you can come back to it. And I will show you what it does. I have prepared one earlier so you can see what the cleaned up version looks like. There we go. This section is nice and compact, not all spread out. When we open it, we have English names for all of these bones, which makes it much easier to navigate. Still do have a couple of leftover, see we've tripled up on the lower body here. Didn't catch everything, but that's very easy to fix. You just go to the display panel and delete the ones you don't need. And when you come up to the materials to make the eyes glow, subset extract, and there's the eye right there. So you can add whatever effects you like to it super quickly. Okay, that's all. Thank you for watching.